So the logical information models, and I guess I press the buttons. I can use this one. Nice. There. So a big part of the work that was done by primarily work package 6 and 7 was to define what would go into the format specifications in terms of which data elements and so on that would fit and what way we would like to see there being common specifications across Europe. As you probably know, I see that colors have been updated a bit since last time, so I will have to guide you through this. Let's see. There is the So like I don't have to explain to you the EHDS Article 15. We have read it, all of us, a few times at least. We have harmonized datasets, that's A, and coding systems and values, literally, item B, and technical interoperability specifications. So that's what we have in the regulation. So we needed to develop these parts to provide the format or the proposal for the format. As input, we had different standards that had already been developed. So we have in the middle there, we have the eHealth, that's actually the eHealth network guideline. If I'm not mistaken, it's the patient summary, could be, yeah, probably. You can check that anyway. But there's the eHealth network guidelines that represents the current consensus among the member states, among sharing the voluntary system, sharing data under the voluntary system that exists today. So that was, of course, an important source of information. We were also looking into different ISO standards, like for property reasons. We use the term, we say that we align with the ISO standards as not to have to republish them. But we have aligned ourselves with standards such as International Patient Summary, ISO IDMP suite of standards. We have used metadata standards, etc. We have used standards from DICOM and HL7 FHIR. We looked at the current resources that exist and some profiling that has been done by HL7. We also considered the work of many of the European projects. That's the flag down there. So projects that have an X in the name, we have looked at most of them. So that led us to working on a two-tiered solution. We developed logical information models, and here the colors should match. So you see there is a yellow border and not a yellow button, that's Xt-EHR. Yellow border there, that means that corresponding to the harmonized data set in the regulation, we developed what we call logical information models. Corresponding to technical interoperability specifications, there were FHIR implementation guides. This should really be green, this border. I'm not sure it is, but you have to imagine. The middle part here, coding systems and values, on the logical information model level, we work with preferred code systems in line with what is in the health network guidelines. So we follow the tradition, the proud tradition of eHealth network in specifying preferred code systems on the logical level. And in the FHIR implementation guides, there are bindings to value sets. There is, as you know, this is one of the most difficult parts to get agreement on in all of health information standardization. So there is still work ongoing. The eHealth network subgroups have a mandate to look at code systems and value sets and make a proposal to be finally delivered to the comitology working group before the end of next month. So who did work on this? So we have the extended EHR project. So we had several meetings with the tasks of work package 6 and 7. We got input from stakeholders in the stakeholder consultation, of course, as anyone else. I think we had a fair share of those comments. They were like in the thousands of comments received for each of the deliverables in work package 6 and 7. On the FHIR implementation guide side of things, there was collaboration agreements with HL7 Europe and IHE Europe, and particularly HL7 Europe, together with people from extended EHR, played a big role in, or an essential role in providing the FHIR implementation guides. So extended EHR's logical models were considered as information requirements for creating the FHIR implementation guides. And in the current FHIR implementation guides from HL7 Europe, there are mappings between the extended EHR logical models and the FHIR implementation guides, the profiles in the FHIR implementation guides. So next slide, I think. Yes. Logical information models, that's not something we invented ourselves. So those who are into architecture name dropping, this is something similar to computation independent models in model-driven architecture. So this means that it should be technology-agnostic models that are used for further like elaboration and refinement on the technical level. So for each of these logical models, I think we did 56 in total. I'm looking at someone who might know and see if there is confirmation, but yeah, I think there were 56 in total. So each of the logical models had data elements. Of course, these are the pieces that actually carry information in the models. Each of those data elements had descriptions in text. They had a data type, so we have numbers and strings and codes and stuff. Each of these data elements also had cardinality. That's to say, like instances should have like either a mandatory, saying that for each instance there needs to be at least one of these elements, or where it could be repeated, like one to many or zero to many. So that was cardinality. We added preferred code systems for at least many of the coded elements. We put in requirements where we put the source of the requirements. If something came from like an ISO standard or the health network guidelines, that would be put into this part of the logical models. And in the end, we also added obligations. And whereas cardinality are the requirements for data instances, like for each subject or patient, you would have certain cardinality. obligations are about system requirements. What are requirements for EHR systems? And I know that Hinek will talk more about these obligations, but on the data element level, obligations were added by the tasks of 6 and 7, as also as a guidance proposal for the future implementing acts. So task 6.1, like 6.1, that's patient summary. 6.2 is e-prescription, e-dispensation. 7.1 laboratory. 7.2 imaging. 7.3 discharge report. Did I say laboratory? I of course meant medical test results. Many of these models and data elements, they actually shared content between. So as an example, medication is relevant in all the priority categories. So there's medication summary in the patient summary, and in the discharge report there are medication administration for laboratory or medical test result. And for imaging, there's contrast and stuff. So medication is important everywhere, and we don't want to put the burden on the implementers and the vendors and the users to use different models in different contexts. So there was this was perhaps the most challenging, and that required most collaboration in this like marriage that we that was put on us. We spent a significant amount of time in just getting agreement among ourselves on how to represent these common aspects of the model. And this was done throughout. I think we first started at the meeting in Bonn when we just had started discussing the content of the models, and worked throughout until almost the end of the project.